Barry?
Y'all ready?
Yep.
Okay, first of all, just very excited about our first class. We signed 15 players. They're big time players. I think most of them have a chance to play in the NFL, and they're super young men. It's one of the best classes in school history, could end up being the best. We talked about laying the foundation. Really feel like we have a class that we go in the Big 12 next year, and we think we'll be in super shape with these guys right here. We signed 14 high school players, 10 from the state of Florida. If you remember when I first got hired, I said we're going to recruit the state of Florida, and that's what we did. And then we got 4 from Orlando area, and this has been a priority for us, to really try to keep our top players home and laying the foundation for that. And we did that. 3 from Georgia and 1 from Texas. I believe we signed 3 wide receivers, 2 defensive ends, 2 linebackers, 2 safeties, a corner, 2 offensive linemen, a quarterback, and a running back, and a tight end. So that was really by design as far as our needs were, as far as that goes. We got 5 players that played for state championships. I think that's very important when you look at the big picture. Overall, I'm just real proud of our staff, real proud of our recruiting team led by Dave Shoemate. Like I said, we got some great players and some great young men. I want to talk about each one of them just briefly, and then I'll open up for questions afterwards. And I'm just going to go by when they came in. And of course, Tyler Griffin, a wide receiver. We felt like we needed a big receiver in this class, and we got on him early. This guy can really run. He's a physical guy. He plays defense in high school too. He's a great basketball player, and so really feel like he'll have a chance to come in and really do a great job for us. KT Thompson is a guy that we got on early from a great program like Lakeland, just right down the road. Defensive end, he's very versatile, he's very physical. Sky's the limit for this guy, and we're excited to have him a part of our family. Jamal Johnson is a guy that I believe it was probably the first week we were here. I got on a Zoom with him and his mom. He was committed to an in-state school, and we just felt like he was a great fit for us, and we recruited him extremely hard. He just previously won a state championship. This is a guy that can come in, I feel like, early and play, and he has got a lot of leadership ability. Jordan McDonald, a running back, he's really the guy we zeroed in on. We think he's the best running back really in the country. He's a big guy. He glides. He's very fast. His team just played for a state championship, and Coach Tim Harris did a great job recruiting him. He's an early enrollee, and I think that's very important too. Quarterback Thomas Castellanos, the only quarterback we recruited, and he was our first commit. He really led our class. Reminds me of Nick Marshall, a player I've had in the past, and just can really extend plays. He's got a great arm. He can make all the throws. He's an early enrollee too, so we're very excited about Thomas. Tylen Grable is a transfer offensive lineman from Jacksonville State. He went to the portal. Obviously, he was in the state that I was in previously, knew a little bit about him. His former head coach is a buddy of mine, thinks he's an NFL player. Came on a visit, just a super young man, and he'll fill in some gaps for us with offensive line. Xavier Townsend is a guy that I'm very excited about. A guy that came on an official visit in the spring, and just you're talking about one of the more dynamic players in our state. He's very versatile. He'll play wide receiver for us. I know he played some running back in high school. He's a great returner, but we really feel like his skill set fits our offense perfect. And he's a guy that we're very excited about. Just came on board with us really last night. Got a super family. We're really excited about him. And his teammate, TJ Bullard, of course, they're both from Berkeley Prep, a great program. TJ's a guy that came on board with us in the summer. We really needed some linebackers. We felt like with speed, he's a real speed guy. He's a heat-seeking missile, and he's a very, very good player. We're very excited about TJ. Quan Lee, wide receiver that we got on early. He was committed to an in-state school when we first got here too, and we just kept recruiting him. This guy is a very physical player. He's a very confident player. He plays defense too, and this guy has a chance to be on the field early and making plays for us. Nikai Martinez is really the first guy that I called once I got the job. I recruited him at my former school. I think it was right after the press conference. I got him on the phone and said, "Hey, I came to you. Come here and be the leader." And really, When he chose to come on board with us, just a guy that could have went anywhere in the country, he chose to stay at home. And I really think that he's laying the foundation moving forward for that. He's fixed to play in a state championship game. He's a dynamic player, and we're tickled to death to have him. Caden Kittler is offensive line from Texas, a center. He's very athletic. Herb Hand was at his former job, was InState, recruited him before, had a previous relationship with him, came on official, really loved it. This guy's a very, very good football player and will play center for us. Grant Stevens, tight end from Nice, another very good program. We really felt like tight end, we wanted a guy that had receiver skills, and he does that, but he's a very physical young man. He's an early enrollee. He's a guy that can play early, and we're tickled to death to have him. Then Cam Moore, linebacker from Seminole. His brother's Brandon Moore that played here from 16 to 19. He just has one of those dynamic personalities. You get around him, he's got something special to him. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. He's a very physical player, and he's got leadership ability. So we're very excited to have him playing linebacker. And then, of course, the twins, Damari and Jakari, guys that we zeroed in early, that we felt like we needed to try to stay home. They could have went anywhere they wanted. They just chose to come here, and our coaches did a good job recruiting them. Both these guys are the type that could play very, very early and make an impact. So overall, that's our 15 guys. Like I said earlier, I think there's a lot of NFL guys, in this group. They're the foundation, and these guys will have a chance to be on the field early. It was really great getting to know them. They all have great parents, and like I said, they're going to lay the foundation for us. We signed 15. There's a good chance we'll probably sign about 10 more before it's all said and done. But we're very excited about today. Questions?
Coach, can you just talk more about the impact they had locally? I know you just touched on the twins and Cam and Nakai. Just how important was that going forward as you look to recruit locally in future classes?
Yeah, there's no doubt. That's really where it starts. We've been saying the state of Orlando, and we divided up our 10 coaches, and I think each of them has 8 to 10 schools that we're calling the state of Orlando. There's great players in this area as well, you all know, and we're just trying to keep the great players at home. And the fact that we got those 4 that decided to come on board, they're laying the foundation where it'll be popular to stay home, and everybody's going to see they're going to be unbelievably successful, I believe. And so this is the start of it, and we're very happy that those guys trusted us to come here, because those 4 could have went just about anywhere, and that'll be the first of many more in the future.
Guys, how much of an impact did the school going to the Big 12, how much was that kind of on the recruiting trail for you guys? Were you able to maybe sell down a little bit more to convince some kids to come here?
Yeah, I think so. First of all, our staff is great with relations. They're great people. They're the way they recruit, just their true personalities. So we got off to a good start, but that was a shot in the arm when we went in the Big 12. And I really feel like it'll be a bigger factor in the 23 class, which, the good thing for us, we hit the ground running. What we hired February 15th, something like that, we had to play catch up. So for us to sign a class like this, it's very exciting for me. And the future is going to be really good. We got really good relationships with 23. They see what's going on. They see the future. The Big 12, like you're talking about, is huge, because a lot of these guys can go anywhere in the country. And like I said, the goal is to keep them here, and that's the group we're going to build this thing to win championships with.
Coach, Polk County is one of the hotbeds for recruiting in Florida. What's it like to go in and grab KT out of there?
That's big for us. There's no doubt. I told him that. He's a guy that could have went just about anywhere too, and just got great parents. And I really felt like he just, he felt at home here, and he's a big time player. He can do a lot of different things, and he's the first, I think, of many to come out of that county.
You mentioned a couple of January enrollees. How many do you expect on campus, and what's the value of that to your program?
Yeah, I believe we got 5 early enrollees, and obviously when you get them that 15 days of spring, it really helps. So that was really good.
Coach, any stories from the road? Did you meet anybody in the driveway or at the stop sign?
No, it was, first of all, it was just good to get out. With COVID year and all that, that was really something, just to get out and and, to be able to go in schools and, get to talk to coaches. There's nothing like meeting somebody face to face, getting a feel from them. Our staff did a really good job in that area. And then of course, when you get to go in homes, that's really the funnest time for me recruiting. You get to go in their house and, they're trusting you with their son, and you got the goals and dreams and everything. It's really, really powerful, really a neat deal for me. And we got some great families.
Guys, you mentioned maybe trying to sign 10 more players down the road. How many, were you trying to keep some scholarships aside for the transfer portal? I mean, obviously it's a big factor.
Yeah, first of all, we wanted to start it with the high school, okay? And really felt like the foundation is going to be built with high school players, specifically from this state. So the fact that we signed 14, I think that's really good. We will look to, fill in holes that we need with the portal. I mean, you see every day, every hour or every minute there's a new guy in. So, I really feel like the teams that can manage their rosters the best are going to have an advantage. And so we're pretty patient, probably more patient than a lot of other teams, but that's by design. And I just want to make sure we're right. And more than anything, probably get the right type people here. That's going to be really important as we build this thing.
Coach, you talked a little bit about Jordan McDonald in your opening statement. You said he was the best running back in the nation.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about him and what kind of skills? And does he maybe remind you of any players you've coached in the past?
Well, he's from the same high school as Peyton Barber that played for me, that's still in the NFL. Jordan is a big back. He's big and he runs big. I said earlier, he glides. You watch him, he just glides. He can really run. He's got great vision. He breaks tackles. And the key to being successful in college, being a running back, is breaking tackles. There's a lot of you can turn on a film and they're running free and they're out running people and not breaking tackles. Well, in college football, that doesn't happen much. So he is a guy that we really believe he is the best. And so that was really exciting for us to sign him. I got a great family. I think the sky's the limit for him.
How would you describe the identity? What's the theme of this first recruiting class for you here?
Yeah, I just keep saying foundation. These guys are on the front end of something really special. All these guys can come in and contribute early. They're all early. And of course, I look at it from potential, like NFL potential. You've heard me say that twice. Like most of these guys, or all of them, have NFL potential, and that's really exciting. And that's what you're shooting for, because we're fixing to go in a new conference. It's going to be a lot of NFL guys in there, and the fact that we've got these guys on the front end, and the fact that they're all pretty much going to play, and that's just what we have as far as depth in our program. We need a lot more depth, and these guys can come in and play, and you'll see some of them out there even starting. So I'm real excited. So probably to answer the question is, I see very, very talented young men that have great character.
Coach, you talked about getting on the road, doing in-home visits. You ate Mexican food twice in one day.
Yeah.
Were you okay, like stomach-wise?
Yeah, it was about a 3-hour turnaround. It didn't bother me a bit. Now, Coach Kenny. Yeah, but Coach Kenny, I was a little disappointed in because he was still feeling the effects the next day, but it didn't faze me a bit. I probably could have ate it 3 times.
Guys, you obviously have been through the recruiting process at high school level and at the college level. What has changed? What have you seen the changes, especially in the last couple of years with NIL,
Yeah.
transfer portal? How much has recruiting changed in your mind?
Well, I think probably more in the last year, times 10 than any other time. Everything's different now. The transfer portal, everybody's learning that. Last 2 weeks, how many players? 1,000 players or something? That's a challenge, just keeping up with who's coming out, and then you got to look at film, and then you got to make sure you're right. And that's kind of what I said. We're just kind of taking a deep breath. We're not wanting to get in a hurry. We want to make sure we're right, and I think that'll pay off in the end. And so that's our philosophy this first year. I think every program's learning the new norm. But really, like I said, the good thing for me, our foundation is high school players and building those guys up, and then we'll go with the portal to fill in the holes.
Coach, how much is NIL important to players? Is that something that gets brought up a lot? Do you have meetings when they come on visits about it? How much is that talked about?
Yeah, it is talked about a whole lot. And, there's great potential here in Orlando. There's no NFL team. And so our guys did extremely well. There's some individuals that did really well, this past year. And I think that is going to be a major selling point here, in the future, I think it's going to get nothing but better for our players.
Coach, a local high school coach said the other day, in his opinion, the transfer portal was ruining high school recruiting. They were having trouble finding guys that would normally be scooped up right away. You're a former high school coach. You just signed 15 high school guys. Are you not the new norm, or how do you see that?
Well, I think that is a big concern. There's no doubt. If I was still in high school, I've talked to a lot of high school coaches out there that they're all concerned because a lot of these coaches, they're just going all portal and they're not recruiting high school. But like I said, for us, it probably helps me being a former high school coach. It probably helps me being on the front end of this job too and having a plan of how we're going to get to where we're going to get. And that's just when we got here, we had that goal and that vision of winning championships. And it really starts in this state. I know I said that in the introductory press conference, and it starts in this area. And we held true to that. We're going to stick to that formula and that plan, and we really feel like it's going to pay off.
Guys like Tommy and TJ have been very active on social media selling this program. How beneficial are they to the recruiting process?
Yeah, it all works together. You know, you get these guys that are leaders that come in early in the class and they recruit for you. And it all works together. And both those guys did a phenomenal job of helping us. Like I said earlier, Thomas, I believe, was the first one. And you see him, I mean, you want a quarterback that leads. And of course, he's already doing that, you know, in the recruiting area.
Coach, a lot of your guys that are committed now have a lot of versatility, playing multiple positions, a lot of returners in the class.
Yeah.
Is that very important to you? Is that like a philosophy?
Yeah, you know, I like football players, you know, and not just measurables. You know, I'm a former high school coach, and I always tell our staff, man, we got to get football players. And football players can play special teams, and you're exactly right. That was by design, and we feel like we got some real guys that are very versatile. There is a lot of returners in here. You can't have enough returners in college football.
With the coaching carousel, there's been a lot of talk that maybe the early signing period in December is not a great idea. I know they're going to talk about potentially moving it. What is your stance on that? Do you like it where it is, or would you like to see something earlier, something later?
Yeah, I think with the portal, I think everything has changed, and I think leadership-wise, we need to sit back and look like what is best moving forward. And then, of course, you know, you see how many coaches change, which was, you know, mind-blowing in itself. So, you know, there is some talk about just a January, which that probably makes a lot of sense. You know, I'm the type that, you know, whatever it is, try to get in a routine. I know early signing day when it first started, it was a little bit different. Now I'm in a routine. It's just kind of, it seems very natural, but, you know, it looks to me like the January would make a lot of sense.
Gus, now that you guys have got this class kind of done and where you think it might want to be a little bit, you can turn your focus to next week's game. What will you guys ramp things up again starting tomorrow? What's your kind of maybe timeline over the next couple?
Yeah, we had 4 practices. We really worked on just us primarily, tried to develop some of the young guys. We took today off for signing day, and then of course we're going to get in our routine. You know, as far as our practice prep for Florida. You look at them on film, they're an impressive group, top 10 in the country on offense in most categories. Defensively, their defensive line really stands out to me. They're long, they're physical, they're fast, so it's a big challenge for us.
Coach, Tylen was originally a tight end in college. Was his athleticism?
Yeah, so he was actually a quarterback in high school, and then he moved to tight end, and then he moved to tackle. So, you know, I think that's a good thing. He's about 290 pounds. You can see his frame. He's going to get bigger. He's only been playing the position for two years, and I think he was All-American at that level. And I think the sky's the limit for him. And he's got the right attitude too. So, you know, he'll have a chance to definitely help us.
Earlier, you mentioned your introductory press conference here. How does this place, UCF, look differently now than it did then?
Yeah, I think probably more than anything, this is we know what we're getting here. This is the group that is really going to lead us, I feel like, as far as the goals and dreams that we have. And it was really fun recruiting these guys, developing relationships with these guys. So, yeah, everything's happened quick from that first introductory press conference to right now. But I'm a very happy head coach now, and you can see it. You can see it, and you kind of feel it. And this is the start of something special.
I know the fans kind of feel like they've got to know Quan Lee a little bit through social media. He has quite the personality. What can you tell us about Quan and just kind of getting to know him, and what kind of player do you think he's going to be for you?
Yeah, first of all, he's a real good person, and he does. He's got his own personality on social media, Jet Li. You know, he's got his own name and all. I kind of like it, but he plays with an edge. He's a tough guy. He's not scared of anything, and I think he'll bring a really good attitude, you know, to our receiver group. And you know, like I said, I think he's a phenomenal player too.
Guess you mentioned next week, you know, you're talking about meeting some of the younger guys and guys maybe getting a chance to play as much, some opportunities to get out in the field a little bit. Do you plan to use this more of developmental time going into this bowl game with some of those guys, maybe see what you'll get next year?
Yeah, you know, of course, a lot of our young guys are having to play because of our injuries, okay?
Yeah.
So it's not like a normal, you know, bowl practice, but we did the first 4 practices, try to, you know, develop our young guys the best we could, the ones that hadn't played, which isn't very many. And then just kind of get back in the flow of things. Our guys have been off for 2 weeks, and we needed that to heal up. Our guys, you can tell they're fresher. They needed the break after that season. Now we took a day off, and you know, I expect our urgency to be pretty high coming tomorrow.
You touched on both Jamal and Juan being committed to in-state schools before. What's it like to get that win over to, like, getting the win over InState Power?
Yeah, you know, this is a program that I believe can compete with anyone. This is a great program, and people know on the outside even that the future is unbelievably bright. So it doesn't matter if it's in-state school or committed to SEC school or Big 12, it doesn't matter. This is going to be a very attractive place for top recruits, and this is just the start of it. And like I said, it's got a chance to be the best class in school history. We only signed 15. We're going to sign 10 more. And there's some really good ones coming this way, I feel like, you know, in the future too.
You talked about how this class addresses several needs. What other needs do you need to address?
You know, I think more than anything, just depth. You know, we're just a thin team. You know, offensive line, we're going to lose a couple guys. I mean, you know, we got 2 guys added to the pass rush. You can't have enough pass rushers as far as that goes. And then 3 receivers. You know, we needed some receivers too. So we feel like we addressed the immediate needs, but you know, on the back end, these 10, just looking for impact players, really at any position that can help give depth.
Yeah, you said, you know, you kind of had to play catch up coming in late. Recruiting is a multi-year process. How much momentum do you think this class will set just because you built for the future and recruiting 23s and 24s?
Yeah, I think the big thing for me is this state, you know, and getting top players from this state to come here and have a positive experience and recruit the next class from this state. It all works together. And what you're going to see is these top guys that could have went other places that chose to come here, they're going to be ultra successful. And then it won't take long that the next class will see that, and we'll start recruiting on a really, really high level. So the plan's in place. This just confirms that what the plan is, and that things are going in the right direction.
I guess you said you were happy, but you almost seem kind of giddy about this class.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way? Does it
Oh
feel-
yeah, you know, we had a lot of these guys committed. I think there was only 2 of them that wasn't committed that signed today, and so it was just kind of one of those things like, we got really, really good players. We just got to get them to sign it. I mean, that's been our, you know, our big thing. And there was coaches that came after them the last month, a lot of them, and they chose to hang in there. So we got them to sign today, and that was a great feeling. We picked up 2 real players on top of that, so it wasn't a good day. It was a great day.
Coach, what can you say about the staff and just the work they put in to land these guys, the work
Yeah.
they put in the spring and summer, just
Yeah.
staying on them all through the fall?
Yeah, they played catch up too, you know, catch up on relationships. You know, really good people, and you know, they're the type of staff that's going to attract the right type people because they're genuine. And so they did a great job developing relationships. It shows when teams come in late that are supposedly bigger, okay, that they hung in there with us. So I think that's, you know, hats off to our staff and our recruiting staff.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Congrats, Coach. Thank you.